I was sick. I was sick unto death in a way that encouraged a long, agonizing sickness. The sentence, the dreaded sentence of death, was the last thing that I heard before I slipped into silence. What a terrible, terrible silence it was. I could hear nothing, but in that silence I could still see. What I saw absolutely terrified me. Judges, clothed in black, their lips working furiously, and though no sound reached me, with my eyes I saw them mark the syllables of my name, for I slipped into oblivion. All sensations surrendered into darkness as the soul's maddening descent into Hades. And then silence and stillness. After that I saw nor heard no more. I awoke in the darkness upon my back. Unbound. Something damp and hard. I didn't want to see. Truly, there should be nothing to see, but at long last, I opened my eyes. Only darkness. A terrible, terrible darkness. Sentence had passed. And though much time had passed since then, I'm sure for not a moment did I surmise myself to be actually dead. Slimy, cold. I think it is stone, but I'm not sure. So I ripped from my clothing a piece of cloth and used it to mark my path along the wall. I then carefully and slowly made my way around the cell till I came back to it. The cell must be about 50 yards in diameter. Okay. Well, across we go. What is this? What is this? It's a pit. A pit in the center of the room. No doubt, I had figured the doom which had been prepared for me, and congratulated myself upon the happy accident which had saved my life. But all of this has taken its toll on me. I think I should rest. Is there any food in it? Yeah. Poison. I awoke again upon my back, upon a low species wood. My entire body was bound from top to bottom by a singular strap, leaving at liberty only my head and my left arm. In such a position as I was, I couldn't help but look at the ceiling. And one piece on the ceiling caught my attention in particular, a painted picture of the figure of time, save in lieu of a scythe he held a pendulum. It swung slowly back and forth. It was brief and slow, but frightfully wondrous. Well, for sure, I knew at this time the terrible doom which had been prepared for me. The pit had been reserved for terrible recussants, such as myself. Yes, the pit, typical of hell, regarded as the master of punishments, isn't it? Well, downward it swung, down inch by inch, so very slowly. For hours it swung, can't go any faster. If they wanted to kill me, they could do it in any myriad of ways. Any way to kill me is fine, just not this agonizingly slow process. Come on, if you could do it, then do it. Don't leave me here. Kill me! Kill me! Kill me! Kill me, please! Kill me! I saw that in time, the pendulum would reach my robe, fraying the surge thereof, before returning to repeat its terrible surgery upon me. For many minutes, my robe would be all that it would fray. Oh, that's it! That's it! Of course, why didn't I think of it before? Well, the strap that envelops me is unique. Only one piece, and it only takes one swing of the pendulum to set me free then, and I will be gone. No, my captors must have thought of this. And sure enough, upon inspecting my body with my free hand, I found that I was tightly bound, limbs and all, save for the path of the destroying crescent. And even if I could escape, how on earth was I to stop this pendulum? I might as well try to stop an avalanche. The rats below me swarmed about for hours. Some of them leapt up and bit at my fingers. To what food, I thought, had they been growing accustomed to in the pit? Oh, God! No, God, no! Wait! Yes, the rats! I knew it. was still some food left over. So I grabbed the food that I was apportioned and rubbed the oils upon my fingers. I then went about rubbing and anointing the straps with which I was bound. This caused a change. The rats noticed, many of them retreating into the pit, but the bolder ones climbed upon the piece that I was bound to and began to sniff at the straps. This triggered a rush of rats upon my body. They swarmed all over me, biting at the straps. Their smell was unbearable. Their cold lips touched mine, and I was nearly suffocated, but I did not move an inch. I could feel the strap fraying and loosening in places, and knew that I would be free soon, but I dared not move. My calculations would not be proved incorrect. My suffering would not be in vain. Finally, I could feel the straps give way. The pendulum, it pressed into my chest and cut into my robe, but my moment of freedom was here. With a wave of my hand, I dispersed my saviors and began to make my way sideways carefully. The pendulum passed. Again. I was finally free. Free at last. But no sooner had I removed myself from my bed of horrors and the pendulum that the machine ceased and retracted back into the ceiling. I knew then that every move of mine was being watched. Free, only to end up in the grip of the Inquisition. Free, only to face some more terrible fate. Well, I will not be waiting around here. In this moment, I realized two things. The walls themselves were not made of stone, but of iron. The second thing I realized by revelation, the first, was the source of a sulfuric light which now lit the room, coming from the base of a fissure at the bottom of the wall and extended the circumference of the cell. And no sooner had I made this realization, the paintings upon the upper walls and ceilings began to blur with intense heat. The walls made of iron began to glow a bright orange. Their heat was unbearable, but what could I do? There was nowhere left to... The well! The pit, yes, of course! Of course! No, God, no! Oh my God, no! No, it's closing in. Oh my God, no! Oh, no! I heard a distant murmur of many voices. I heard the crash of 1,000 trumpets. The fiery walls receded, and a hand outstretched to mine. It was the hand of General Lassalle. The French had occupied Toledo. The Inquisition was in the hands of its enemies.
have a story to tell about my friend Fortunato. Now, I had suffered 1,000 injuries by Fortunato, and I bore them as best as I could. But when he ventured upon insult, I vowed my revenge. You see, Fortunato, well, you may say it is not of my nature, but never should I have uttered such a threat. But I stand by my resolution for my vengeance, a safe one where no harm shall come upon myself. And you see, a wrong can truly only ever be undressed when the avenged and the avenger is filled with resolution and righteousness. And when the avenger goes completely unnoticed by the one who had wronged him, well, the victory is all of that more the sweeter. And Fortunato, he didn't expect a thing, no word or deed did I give him cause to think ill of my goodwill towards him. And Fortunato, he had a weakness, for he believed himself a connoisseur of wine, took pride in the fact, and it is his pride that would be his downfall. And I would smile at him, all the while smiling at his demise. It was the night of the Carnival. The streets were filled with people, a maze of sound and smells, a place of pure merriment where it would be almost next to impossible to find an individual unless you knew exactly where to look. And my friend Fortunato, well, I did happen upon him, and he was warm and joyful, the marks of a man deep within his drinks, for he had drunk much. And his outfit, he was dressed from head to toe in a tight striped costume and bore bells upon his head, the very image of a jester. And it was so good to see him. Fortunato, my friend, it is an absolute pleasure and a coincidence to run into you. You are looking absolutely fine, my friend. I actually just happened upon a case of Amontillado, but I do doubt its authenticity.
Amontillado? Impossible! And in the middle of the Carnival?
Indeed, my friend. And I do have my doubts. I did something foolish. I purchased the Amontillado at full Amontillado price without consulting you, but you were nowhere to be found, and I assume Lucius would be able to handle the same situation.
Lucius cannot tell Amontillado from sherry.
You are right, my friend, and a fool for anyone to assume that his taste could match in comparison of yours.
Yes, come, let us go to your vaults. I have no engagement, let us go.
My friend, you don't have engagement. Let me and Lucius handle this. You are ill of cold, and the vaults, they are rigorously damp.
Let us go, nevertheless. The cold is nothing. Amontillado, you have been imposed upon it. And as for Lucius, he cannot distinguish sherry from Amontillado.
Very well, my friend. To our Amontillado, please lead on. And he led, with every step, a jingle of the bells on his hat. And I followed to my palazzo, my family's home where the catacombs lay beneath, and where no one would be, for I had sent the servants to enjoy the Carnival, and begged them and bid them not to come back until the morn so they can truly enjoy the festivities. We went down the wine-launding long staircase by torchlight, ending in the vaults of the catacombs' long winding halls. My friend, we have made it, and just further down the pipe we will be able to get to our Amontillado. Oh, your cough, my friend. Please let us return. I do not wish to be the bearer. You are living a rich and wonderful life, far better than my own. Lucius and I, we can have...
Enough! The cough is nothing. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough.
You will not die a cough, my friend. Very well. Let us to our cast. We continued down the path towards the catacombs in which I had removed part of the wall. The catacombs, they became closer, as if they were begging us to venture further in, the dead grasping at every step, beckoning for a new soul to join them. My friend, you see the niche just ahead of us? That is where we will find our Amontillado.
Yeah. These vaults are extensive.
Quite. My family is quite numerous and wealthy.
I forget your arms.
My arms? Yes, it is a foot in a field of azure, and the foot is crushing a snake, and the fangs are dug into the heel.
Ah, impressive. Good.
Yes. Right this way, my friend. Let us drink a toast, shall we?
I drink to the buried that repose around us.
To your long life. We would drink, and the alcohol will muddle his thoughts and slow his ability to move, and I would chain him against the wall, and finally the dawn of the realization of the situation he was in would enter his eyes as I clamped last shut the chain.
The Amontillado?
The Amontillado, my friend. I will be right back. Let me go grab us another cask. I would leave the niche and begin to wall up the hole, brick by brick. The first and second layer went quick, but by the third and fourth, someone began to sober up.
Yes, a very good joke indeed. We will laugh about this, no, at the palazzo over our wine.
Yes, we will laugh over our wine, my friends. He began to scream and to yell, that of a man being tortured to death. And in response, I began to repeat and scream back at him until there was silence, except for the rustling of bells as they hit the floor as his head drooped downward. And I replaced the final brick, only hearing the muffles of a man sentenced to death.
For the love of God, Montressor!
For the love of God. Rest in peace, my friend. No one would dare enter the catacombs of my family for centuries to come, and his body will lay there, far beyond time itself. Goodbye, friends.
I said fuck no. Sorry, my friends. This is not that type of show. We're here to get you fucked up, not sober. But, if it does become a little much for you, right next to the restrooms, there are water fountains that right on top of them there are nice disposable cups, and you can fill that as much to your heart's content. In the meantime, we're going to do what we do best, which is keep you entertained with mildly entertaining stories and even better cocktails. How does that sound? Fantastic. Now let us continue. You have just witnessed the cold, calculated vengeance that transpired in the dark catacombs beneath the Italian Palazzo. The taste of Amontillado still lingers on in the air, and perhaps still on our breaths. But, as we leave the dark, shadowy corridors of revenge behind, we now take a look at a different type of darkness. A darkness tinged with sorrow and longing. Our next tale takes us away
from the cold, damp catacombs into the ethereal realm of memory and love. Annabel Lee was published in 1849. It was one of Poe's final written works. It was published posthumously, as Poe would soon later die that same year in October at 40 years of age. This poem, unlike the sinister plots of our previous tales, talks about a love so pure and so powerful that not even death itself could sever its bonds. Poe's life was marked by the death of several women he loved very dearly, most notably his late wife, Virginia Clem, who died of tuberculosis at a very young age. Now, many scholars and readers interpret Annabel Lee to be a tribute to Miss Virginia and a reflection of Poe's profound grief over her death. So, journey with me now to a kingdom by the sea, where the waves whisper tales of love and loss, and where the spirit of Annabel Lee lingers, forever immortalized in Poe's haunting verse. Prepare to be moved by the mournful beauty of Annabel Lee.
It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, there lived a beautiful maiden there, whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. Now this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and to be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was far more than a love. I and my Annabel Lee, our love was like the winged seraphs of heaven that coveted her and me. And perhaps that's the reason why, in this kingdom by the sea, that wind swept from a cloud one day, chilling my Annabel Lee. And the high-born kingsmen came and bore her away from me, locked her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels half as happy. They were envying her and me. Yes, that is exactly the reason. This kingdom by the sea, that the wind swept from a cloud that night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger, far stronger than those much older than we. Our love was greater than those, far wiser than we. Where neither the angels up in heaven nor the demons down under the sea could ever dissever my soul from her soul. My beautiful Annabel Lee. And now, the moon never gleams without bringing me dreams of my beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars may not rise, but I still see her bright eyes. My beautiful Annabel Lee. So every night tide, I still stick by her side. The side of my darling, oh darling. My life and my bride. In this sepulchre by the sea. In her tomb by the sounding sea.
How are we feeling? Fuck yeah. Over here.
Don't lie, you missed a row.
Say that one more time in English.
You missed a row.
I missed a row?
From here down to not get.
Hey, we missed a row. Alright.
2 rows.
Fuck yeah. In the meantime, while they're taking care of that, I do have a question. Who's here that's supposed to be here for the 2 o'clock show?
From here down.
Here?
Down that way.
Alright, get the fuck out. You're not supposed to be in here yet. You're spoiling the surprise. Thank you. If you already had a drink, we'll call it pre-game. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck yeah. Is that the Texas way? I don't know, my friends. We're a traveling band of performers. We're from everywhere. We're not associated with this venue. I myself am from Florida.
I'm sorry.
I know. Our weather's better than yours. Whatever. And we have another one coming up this Wednesday. So that's gonna suck. Yeah. So that one's gonna suck. This one, though, is gonna affect all of Florida, so we'll see how that goes.
Yay!
Huh? Is my mother okay? Why would she not be fine? You... For sure. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. We were just talking about this. You guys obviously remember COVID, right? We were talking about how weird it was during that time period. And if we could go back, what would we do? I said I would stock up on toilet paper and masks. Not for myself, but to sell them, bitches. Remember? Like a box of masks cost like $300 on Amazon. Damn. What a time. What a time. I know. Things were weird during COVID. Shit's getting weird, and we might have another pandemic coming soon. I don't know, mad cow or some shit, whatever. The government won't tell us until it's time. But, nah, you like that one, huh? Yeah, the government has a lot of secrets. Conspiracy. Now, I will say that Texas gets a bad rap. Because I, being from Florida, you guys have heard Florida Man, yes? Well, like how we have Florida Man, we have Texas Man in Florida. For instance, one of the first things I asked a native here in Texas, I asked, is it true that you guys don't need to carry around your IDs? That all you need to do is just flash your gun and say, this is my ID?
Fuck yeah!
I shit you not. We intrinsically believe this in Florida. I shit you not. Now it's a running joke in the back of the kitchen because like, oh no, they might flash me their ID. And I'm like, bro, I thought legitimately like that was a real thing. One of my first questions here was like, well, if I'm at the door and I'm checking IDs, what if they like say, I don't have my ID and just go, do I kind of just say, well, welcome in? I think that would be the appropriate response. But regardless, my friends, I think enough lollygagging for now. We must continue on with the show. Now, I know. You have just experienced the mournful beauty that was Annabelle Lee. However, as we leave her memory behind, we now descend into a place where darkness and dread have festered for generations. Our final tale, The Fall of the House of Usher, is one of Poe's most unsettling works. Shout out to Netflix. If you've watched the show, it's good. If you haven't watched the show, welcome to the show. Now, it was published in 1839, at the time when the author was no stranger himself to the crippling fear of madness and to the haunting presence of hereditary doom. Poe, having experienced the loss of several loved ones, as well as his own fragile mental state, decided to channel these fears into a story so perplexing that the very walls seemed to come alive with terror, and the mansion pulses with the madness of its inhabitants. So, without further ado, let us finally venture into the rotting halls of the fall of the House of Usher, where every creak, every whisper could be the sound of something far more sinister. Enjoy.
I hear a ghost story.
Yeah.
During the whole of a dull, dark, soundless day in the autumn of the year, I was passing alone on horseback through a singularly dreary tract of country when I found myself at length, as the shades of evening passed, within view of the melancholy house of Usher. And I knew not how, but with the first glimpse of the building, I felt an insufferable gloom pervade my spirit. I knew not why. What was it about this house that so unnerved me in the contemplation of it? Its proprietor, Roderick Usher, had been a companion of mine in boyhood, but many years had elapsed since our last meeting. A letter found its way to me in the most distant parts of the country, a letter he wrote, a letter that detailed acute bodily illness, mental disorder that oppressed him, and a desire to see me, his only personal friend. As I crossed the short causeway to the house, I found myself met with a valet, swift of step, who conducted me silently through dark, intimate pathways covered over with somber tapestries and carvings in the ceiling, as we moved toward the personal chambers of Roderick Usher. The room in which I soon found myself was large, lofty, but I could not help but feel that I was breathing in an atmosphere of sorrow. And yet, upon entering, Usher leapt up from the sofa upon which he had been reclining at full length and met me with such vivacious warmth that I thought it an overdone cordiality. His complexion was cadaverous. He was the shadow of the man I knew. His hair, once silken, now web-like, clung to his temples, and his voice shook as he spoke, as if he was afraid to trust his own senses. The atmosphere of this house, he said, has molded the destiny of my family. There is an influence, a curse here that no mortal can escape. Do you feel it? Do you feel it, my friend? Do you sense the decay that pervades the air? Hello to you too. I wished to comfort him, to tell him no, but there was a disquieting truth in the words he spoke. The house itself, from the foundation to the crumbling turrets, seemed to breathe out the very essence of sorrow. I could see it in every stone, in the dilapidated exterior, every dark corner of the vast interior. It was as if the house was a living, sentient being linked to the fate of its master. The illness that afflicted the Lady Madeline Usher, Roderick's sister, had long baffled her physicians. There was nothing they could do. I scarcely saw her during my visit. She walked through remote areas of the house, pallid, silent, like a shadow, a living corpse. And indeed, one day, Roderick told me abruptly that the Lady Madeline was no more. Her death had been sudden, but not unexpected. His reaction was one of strange calm, as if resigned to the inevitable. But he told me of his intention to preserve the body for a fortnight within the house. Under the circumstances, I felt I could raise no objection. Together, we placed the body in the vault beneath the mansion, unscrewed and slid off the lid so that he could look upon her face one more time, replaced the coffin, shut the great iron door, and returned to the apartments in the upper portions of the mansion. Days passed. Usher grew worse. His disposition was more disturbed. His eyes wide. He walked about the house, complained of sounds, of noises that echoed in the halls, whispers, footsteps that seemed to have no origin, and a storm that began to gather and then rage outside the windows seemed indeed to reflect the inner turmoil of the man. No, come, don't look at that, I said, taking him from the window. The air is dangerous to you. Here, instead, I'll read to you from your favorite novel, and thus we will pass this terrible night. But no sooner had I picked up that ancient tome, opened it, began to read, that I heard a sound, distant and dull, not unlike the sounds described in the book. A cracking, a ripping. And with a start, Usher said, "No, no. Do you hear? We have put her in the tomb, alive. I hear it. Her struggle, her heartbeat, her footsteps on the stairs." I listened. He continued, "No, madman! Do you not hear? I swear it. I sense her. She is even now behind that very door." And we listened and watched. And then as if by a spell, the doors swung open, and there, blood-stained and emaciated, stood the figure of the Lady Madeline Usher. She trembled. She swayed back and forth upon the threshold, and then, all of a sudden, and for one last time, with a moan and a shriek, she fell upon her brother and dragged him to the floor, a corpse. I fled the house, terrified, and as I crossed over the causeway, I saw a wild light flash. A blood-red moon shone through a fissure that now rent the house in two and widened rapidly. The walls crumbled. The house closed in on itself silently, solemnly. And thus fell the final fragments of the House of Usher.
Well, my friends, congratulations! You have successfully survived to the end of the Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy. Thank you. Now, my friends, before we depart, if I could please get one more round of applause for your servers that doubled as your storytellers, tripled as your lights and sound, quadrupled as your bars. Thank you. There are over 150 of you here, and we've done this only with 4 people, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Now, my friends, as you make your way towards the exit, you will notice our wonderful Poe formers are holding nicely lit boxes. In all seriousness, my friends, we are not associated with this venue. We are a traveling band of performers, which means, in order to feed our families, we depend on the generosity of humble folks such as yourselves. So if you had a great time today, consider leaving behind some cash. Now, if you don't have cash, no worries, we're way more modern than Poe. We have Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, and Ask on your way out. But my friends, thank you so much for helping us live our dreams, for keeping the spirit of Edgar Allan Poe alive and well in this beautiful city of Houston, Texas. It has been a pleasure. Please get home safely, and we hope to see you again.